I work overnight security at a corporate tower in downtown Seattle. 38 floors of empty offices, dead silence, and flickering fluorescent lights. The kind of place that feels off even in daylight. But at night, it breathes. It was a little after 3 a.m. when I noticed something strange on the monitors. Elevator B, one of two in the north wing, was cycling floors by itself, up to 15, down to 1, then up again. No one had called it. No one had entered or exited, just endlessly moving. At first I figured it was a glitch. Maintenance was due next week, but after 15 minutes of watching it ride aimlessly, something about it started to really get under my skin. I decided to check it out. I took the stairs down from the control office to the lobby. Sure enough, Elevator B's doors were wide open, waiting. I stepped in. The interior was dim. One of the bulbs overhead was dead, casting everything in this grim, uneven light. I pressed 7. The ride was smooth at first, quiet hum, then ding, floor 7. The doors opened into pitch black. No emergency lights, no hallway sconces, just darkness like someone had torn out the entire floor. I shined my flashlight out into the void. Nothing. No furniture, no walls, just a stretch of black that swallowed the beam after a few feet. Unnerved, I hit lobby. The elevator didn't move, then without warning, it shot up. Fast. Past 12, 15, 20. The lights above the door flickered and glitched out. Then all the buttons went dark. I tried the emergency stop. Nothing. I slammed my hand against the control panel. Still nothing. Then, crash. The elevator lurched violently sideways like it had jumped the tracks. The wall opposite the doors shattered into a corridor I swear didn't exist in this building. Twisted steel and black glass framed an impossible hallway, stretching into some other place. I stumbled out, my flashlight shaking in my hand. The air was cold and heavy. My radio crackled to life, and I froze. It was my voice, screaming, "Help me! I can't get out! Don't let it take you to..." Slam! The elevator doors snapped shut behind me. When I turned, they were open again, but I was back in the lobby. Everything looked normal, except when I glanced at the wall clock. It was 2:01 a.m., an hour before I'd first entered that elevator. I quit that job the next morning, but sometimes when I walk past buildings at night, I hear it. A single ding from an empty elevator, waiting. It was around 1:12 a.m. when I got the final delivery ping on my handheld. Rural back road, no streetlights. GPS showed a single farmhouse off a gravel path, miles from the last paved road. Normally, we don't do deliveries past midnight, but peak season meant pushing limits. And hey, overtime's overtime. I turned down the narrow lane, headlights slicing through thick mist. Trees lined both sides, their twisted branches scratching against the van. Finally, the house came into view. A 2-story farmhouse sagging slightly, porch light flickering like it was gasping for air. No other vehicles, no sign of life. But the GPS insisted, "You have arrived." I grabbed the brown package and stepped onto the porch. The boards creaked under my boots. As I raised my hand to knock, the front door creaked open, all on its own. I stood frozen. "UPS delivery," I called out. Silence. I hesitated, then stepped inside. The smell hit me first. Mold, damp wood, and something faintly sweet, like rotting fruit. The living room was frozen in time. Dust blanketed the couch and table. Family portraits hung crookedly on the walls, except all the faces were scratched out. Every single one. Eyes gouged with something sharp. Then I saw it. The package. My package. Sitting on the hallway table. Already inside. Same barcode, same label. Except it wasn't addressed to anyone. I reached for my radio when I heard it. slow, deliberate footsteps creaking on the floor above me. I called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No answer. Just silence. Against every instinct, I moved toward the staircase. Each step felt like walking into a grave. At the top, the hallway was pitch black, except for one faint glow coming from a room at the end. On the door, pinned with a rusty nail, was a child's drawing, stick figures holding hands in front of the same house. Above it, in a child's handwriting, "Thank you for coming." Then, the door slowly creaked open by itself. Inside, it was ice cold. Shadows clung to the walls like living things. And standing just inside the room, a pale figure, no face, just empty skin where eyes and mouth should have been. It raised one long, thin hand, reaching out. I didn't think. I hurled the package at its feet, spun, and bolted. I didn't stop until I hit pavement again, tires screaming all the way back to the depot. I barely slept, tried to convince myself it was exhaustion. A nightmare, a prank, maybe. But the next morning, I opened my mailbox. Inside was a single folded paper. A child's drawing, same house, same stick figures, but this time, my name was written in red crayon beneath a new line. "See you soon." It was just past 3 a.m. when the overhead speakers crackled to life. Code Blue, room 406. I was working the night shift, again, at a decaying inner-city hospital that should have been condemned a decade ago. The walls were yellowed, the floor tiles buckled, and the flickering hallway lights made everything feel like a bad dream. Room 406. My stomach dropped. That wing hadn't been used in months, gutted for renovations that never happened. But the call was unmistakable, and protocol was protocol. I grabbed my flashlight and headed down the east wing. The halls grew darker, quieter, like the building itself was holding its breath. As I approached room 406, I heard it. Flatline tones, long, endless beeps echoing from within. I pushed open the door. Nothing. The bed was empty. The monitors were on, but there was no patient. No nurse, no crash cart, just that steady, high-pitched tone and the slow hiss of a respirator clicking on by itself. I stepped in, confused. The machine kept hissing, inflating and deflating as if it was helping someone breathe, but there was no one there. I moved closer, grabbed the tubing, and yanked it from the wall. Silence. Then the bed creaked, not just a shift of the mattress, but the deep, heavy groan of weight, like someone had just laid down under the sheets. I stared. The blanket slowly sank, just slightly, as if a chest had exhaled beneath it. Then I felt it. Cold fingers around my wrist. I gasped. The grip was ice, like holding a corpse's hand pulled from a freezer. I screamed and yanked my arm back, stumbling into the IV stand. Above me, the fluorescent light burst in a spray of glass. Darkness. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't stop until I hit the nurse's station, breath ragged, tears running down my face. They found me at dawn, sitting on the hallway floor, still staring at room 406. No one else heard the code blue. No one else saw the monitors active. But when security checked the room, they found something. A dark, irregular stain on the tiles, right where the bed had been. Room 406 has been sealed ever since. But some nights, when I'm alone at home, I feel it again. That same icy grip wrapping around my wrist. And I remember that room still breathes. I worked the night shift as a forklift operator in a massive warehouse. The kind of place so big your footsteps echo like thunder. It was the dead of night, the kind of silence that presses on your ears, broken only by the hum of machines and the occasional clang of metal. That night, I was restocking pallets along row Z, the farthest end of the building. The lights overhead flickered unevenly, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch and warp. Then I heard it. A whistle. At first I thought it was just the wind, or maybe a radio playing faintly somewhere else. But no, this whistle was different. It was off-pitch, broken, like a child struggling to whistle a tune. I stopped, frozen. My radio crackled with static. "Did you hear that?" I whispered into the mic. No response. The warehouse was dead silent again. I gripped the forklift controls tighter, eyes narrowing. I crept down the aisle slowly, each pallet and crate looming like silent sentinels watching me pass. The whistle came again, soft, shaky, almost pleading. I turned my forklift's headlamps toward the sound. There, on the side of a shipping container, a small hand was pressed flat against the cold metal. My breath caught. I edged closer. The container door swung open with a slow, rusty creak. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the faint smell of something old, like forgotten memories. In the corner sat a dusty tricycle, its paint faded and peeling. But what really froze me were the footprints. Tiny, bare footprints pressed into the thick layer of dust on the floor. They started at the doorway and led deeper into the darkness beyond the light. I followed them with my eyes, heart pounding, until they just stopped. Not at a wall, not at a shadow, but at empty air. I blinked. The footprints ended in nothing but cold, stale darkness. The whistle didn't come again. I backed away, slammed the container door shut, and sped back to the loading dock, every nerve screaming. I never found out what that whistle was, or who, or what left those footprints. But sometimes, late at night when the warehouse is empty and the lights are flickering, I still hear it. That broken, lonely whistle echoing in the dark. I used to work overnight security at a high-security data center. Just me, a desk full of monitors, and a thermos of bitter coffee. It was quiet, sterile. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the hum of the cooling fans in the walls never stopped. It was the kind of place where nothing ever happened. Until one morning at 4:02 a.m., I was watching the camera feeds, rows of still, lifeless corridors, when I saw him, a man, walking through Corridor B, wearing an old-fashioned suit, like 1920s era, vest, bowler hat, the whole thing. That hallway was locked on both ends. No motion alerts, no alarms. But there he was, clear as day, striding casually down the hall. I froze. I clicked to rewind the footage, tried to track where he came from. My blood ran cold. He didn't open any doors. He walked straight through them, right through the steel-reinforced entrance to Corridor B. Then again, right through the firewall door into the server room. No badge scans, no key codes, no sound, just passed through solid metal like smoke. I jumped to my feet, heart racing, grabbed my key card and ran. The hallway was dead silent. Fluorescent lights flickered. That low electric hum felt louder somehow, like it was pressing against my skull. The server room door was open. That door never opens on its own. Inside, the air was colder, unnaturally cold. I stepped in and froze. Every monitor, every terminal, every screen in that room, dozens of them displayed the same thing. My face, not just my face, but my face at that exact moment, terrified, mouth slightly open, eyes wide, like the entire server room was watching me, mirroring me. I backed out, stumbling, almost tripping over the threshold. I bolted down the corridor and into the control room. All the camera feeds were black, no signal, just a blank grid of static. Then, one feed blinked back on. It was the feed from directly behind me. There he was, standing just inches away. That same man, that suit, that empty expression. I turned around so fast I nearly fell out of my chair. Nothing. No one. But the camera kept showing him, just standing there, looking at me. I resigned that same morning. But sometimes, late at night, when I catch a glimpse of myself in a window or a screen, I swear I see him again, standing behind me, watching and waiting.